Hey everybody, welcome back. Josh Richardson with Velocity Athlete Development. I'm your host today for Inside the Box Trench Talk, where I get a great opportunity to talk with coaches and athletes across the United States about what we love the most, the game football. Today we have with us, super excited to have with him, Clinton Richard from Wake Forest. Clinton, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, coach. I'm doing good.
Let's go, man. It's so good to see you. So, Clint, as you know, we've had this relationship over the last couple of years. I was very fortunate enough to work with you while you were in high school, but I'm really excited to share your story with the rest of the United States and the community of football because I think it's a great story. But, before we get started, man, I didn't know if you want to give any shout outs or anything that you wanted to do before we get rolling.
Uh,
How about them Hiram boys here here
yeah,
back in Georgia?
shout out them Hornets, man.
Let's
Had
go.
yeah, shout out the Hornets, shout out Wake Forest, shout out my coaches,
Let's go.
shout out the family.
Yeah. All right, man. So I'm just messing with you. I got to do a shout out, man. Our partners at BioLite. I don't know if you guys use this product, but if you're looking for hydration, BioLite's a great product. So I'm going to dive right into it with you, Clint. We're going to get rolling here. All right, my friend. So in high school, we're a 3-star athlete for Hiram High School. We're playing both defensive line. We're playing both offensive line. I mean, you're doing your thing, right? And you're going to start the recruiting process. What was recruitment like for you while you were in high school?
It was pretty good. It really picked up around my junior year, and I feel like I got lucky with an opportunity. One of my teammates, he really took off and he brought in some scouts to practice, and then that basically gave us the platform and to ball out and show out. And yeah, we got lucky.
Yeah, no, it's good, man. There's some talent at Hiram. I mean, you can't downplay the players that are there at Hiram. I mean, you come out of there, we talk Walter, which I'm assuming you're talking about Riggs, that's over at Georgia Tech. I mean, we can go on down the list. I'm just talking linemen, right? I'm obviously a little biased, right? We're talking tight ends and linemen here at Velocity, but, the talent's across the board. Hiram's produced some great talent. So through that recruiting process, you said there's other talent that you were playing with. Coaches are coming in, they're coming to your practices. Are they coming in talking with you during that recruiting process? I think this is a great opportunity to kind of share your story so that other high school kids here in Georgia kind of understand what you went through so they can prepare themselves for that same thing.
I would say in the beginning, I had a lot of schools come in and talk, but then none of them were really giving out the offers. And, as a high school kid, you like, dang, like, when am I going to get it? When am I going to get it? And at that time, it was like really hard. And actually, the day before I got my first offer, I was actually had football practice, but I had a basketball tournament to go to at the time because I was still playing basketball. And I was like, all right, the coach is coming, but it's just like all the other practices, they come in, talk to me. I don't get the offer, this and that. But then my mom really sat down and talked to me. She's like, God has a plan for everything. Go to practice. It's going to be different. Keep working. And then I had a pretty good practice. And I got my first offer from Georgia Southern. Got my first offer from there. And then it really took off from there.
Yeah, there's no doubt, man. I remember that time, Georgia Southern was recruiting you. Obviously, you took your trips to North Carolina. You were going to, obviously, Wake Forest, Florida State, you took an unofficial visit to. I know South Florida had offered you. I mean, you build up a lot of traction in your senior there at that point. What do you think really drove that? I mean, the success on the field, did the coaches share about you being like a dual sport athlete? I mean, did that help you out, not just playing football, but also basketball through this process?
Yeah, they liked the fact of how athletic I was in the dual sport part, being a basketball and football player. And one thing that also helped was the fact that I had a pretty good GPA, so that also boosted that too. And they like how aggressive I was on the field and how strong I was. I feel like that was one of my biggest strengths, my aggression and my strength. And they like the way I play football.
Yeah, it shows up on film, doesn't it? I'll tell you what, I was shocked, and I hate to say it that way, but you obviously know that what do here, and you've worked with us in the past. And I've been fortunate to work with a lot of elite athletes like yourself. But being as young as you were, when you came in and did the college prep with us, and you were working out with the other high school athletes getting ready for the college, how much stronger you were than most others. I mean, you were putting up weight that a lot of our collegiate, even professional athletes were doing at that time as a high school player. When did you start working out? Is that something that, came naturally, or have you been working on that for a long time?
Um, some people like to say it's natural, but it came. I'll say I started working out the eighth grade summer going into high school, so around the same time everybody usually starts.
Yeah.
And at first, I wasn't very strong in the weight room, and then I had a teammate who we was real close, so we just kind of pushed each other each day, and we just kept going back to the gym, kept working, and I feel like that really helped me. And then around like sophomore year, I was I was getting a lot better, a lot stronger, and then I had squatted about 500 pounds around that time my sophomore year, and I was benching about 315,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was like, okay, the hard work's paying off. Yeah,
It helps from a mental standpoint too, right? I mean, a little bit
yeah,
of confidence comes out of that, right? When you're in the weight
yes,
room and you're eating steel like you were eating steel at that young of an age, throwing up that type of weight. I mean, that level of confidence in what you can do out there on the field compared to your competitors, I mean, it has to be elevated that much more because of what you do in the off season in that weight room. Would you agree?
yeah, I agree. I feel like going in the off season, the stronger you are, and it translates to the field, the easier it is going to be able to move a body, move a guy. So I feel like the off season is very important. Like you got to really work on strength and technique. It's
Man,
going to make it so much easier.
you get it, man. We call it the full 360. If you're just focusing on one facet of it, you're never going to be the best football player you can be.
Yes.
Technique, strength, performance, speed, jumping, all that stuff, nutrition, all that comes into making you a better athlete. And you obviously took advantage of it, right? So that's fantastic. I appreciate you sharing that. You were, when it was done, ranked in the top 70 here in the state of Georgia for recruits out of all positions. That's incredible. From your own position, an interior offensive lineman, you're ranked 50th across the United States, right? And
Mhm.
that's something to be said. So when you chose Wake Forest, did you know going into Wake Forest, you're going to be one of their top recruits that they've had from an interior offensive lineman ever?
Ever, I didn't know ever. I wasn't expecting that, but I did knew I was going to be one of their top recruits. They made that very known, and they were really excited on me, and I was excited to be there.
Yeah, man, no doubt. I mean, that's putting in the work. Well, let's jump back a little bit. Tell me a little bit about when you decided that Wake Forest was the place. I'm assuming you did your whole, due diligence where you did your visits, your unofficial visits, you did game day visits. Did you do or a
Mhm.
official visit as well? And maybe you can share a little bit about that.
Um, the first time I got the offer from Wake Forest, I actually didn't know where Wake Forest was at first, and then I took the visit there, and I enjoyed. It was a basketball game, and I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the atmosphere, and then took a trip around the campus as unofficial, and just it was good vibes. I seen the practice. I was like, okay, and then I did my research when I went home. That back then they were competing for ACC championship back then, and I was like, wow, this is a very good program. And then I actually didn't know, but they were like the most winningest program in North Carolina in recent centuries. So I was like, oh, okay. And then Dave Clawson at the time, he was recruiting me. They were excited. They had a plan, and they said I had a great chance to play early, come in and be that dude. And my parents fell in love with the academics of the
Yeah.
school,
How could
and
you not? Right.
they liked the campus. And then they were like, it's a great place. There's not a lot of distractions nearby. It gives you a chance to focus on your craft and go out there and be a dog.
Yeah, no doubt, man. That's exciting. Good for you, man. To be able to go through that process is exciting for any high school student, but to play at a major program like Wake Forest in the ACC, that's impressive. And then to your point, like the elite education that you can get out of Wake Forest is unmatched. So that, great choice in that aspect. So let's continue down that path. So when you decide to make that choice that you're going to Wake Forest. You then made the decision, and tell me if I'm wrong, we were early enrollee, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So we graduated earlier in high school at the end of your football season, right? Your senior year at the end of fall, right? You were going to, in the next semester, enroll at Wake Forest, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Can you tell us how that came to be?
Um, I always knew that I wanted to early enroll because at the time, like doing that second semester half, I would be playing basketball and stuff,
Right.
and I was like, all right, I already had my time doing that. It's time to focus. I've committed to the school and I'm ready to come in early. And they wanted me to come in early too and be an immediate impact. And I wanted to go early just for the challenge, new competition, It's just I'm ready for the next step. I was eager to get on campus. And that whole process, it was just I talked to my parents and I took care of the business in the classroom, so which made it possible. So I was like, okay, after this football season, I'll early enroll and get ready to play football.
I think it's a great decision, right? I mean, if you're able to get in there early, integrate into the team early, you start
Hmm.
forming those relationships, and especially as offensive linemen, that synergy is critical, right? For us to be able to develop those relationships and trust on each other that much quicker than trying to enroll in summer or fall before your season is always
Hmm.
beneficial. So let's talk about that. You early enrollee, in January. And what did that look like? Obviously, you're thrown right into school right away, right? So, I mean, are you
Yeah,
getting much resources, a lot of help from, the personnel there at Wake Forest to help you integrate through that?
yeah. I said we got a lot of help. Actually, more help than I like. We had mandatory 8 hours of tutoring a week, which really helped you with your schoolwork. And because Wake Forest is a high academic school, and it got a lot of work in there. So like that really helped me. And then we had like just people helping us with our schedule all the time and just setting up everything we need. And then the big adjustment for me was waking up early. Yeah, is Wake Forest is a morning team, so that was a little struggle at first, but all of that, and I feel like they really were really patient and it made the transition very easy.
That's awesome. Making that transition, it's not apples to apples. It's not what you do in high school and your schedule and what's expected of you compared to when you get to college. It's that much different. So let's talk about that. You got into college, you make this transition. What was the biggest thing for you outside of waking up early that was like, man, this is so much different than high school as far as how you manage your time?
Um, I would say it's just knowing that you still have to do school. I know like people want to go to college and just focus on football, but you still gotta do school. So it's just make sure your work is done. Also like going to bed early. Like you can't just stay up all the time and just do what you want to do because you got practice in the morning. And also it's like recovery, and that's really important right there because you gotta the best ability is availability, and just also like film because us coming in, you got to learn a whole new playbook, and it's not like a playbook you had in high school where it's like easy to remember. You gotta, and then I gotta learn a new technique. So it's just like making sure you're focused on why you came here. You don't get distracted by the outside noises.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, no doubt. That makes total sense. I mean, there can be a lot of distractions. Your focus on what you're there to do with is both education as well as playing football is important, especially for your longevity on that team, right? Especially in this world that we're in today, with the NIL and the portal and all these things. I mean, there's people coming and going all the time. You got to secure your spot every day there at school. So, all right, now we're moving into spring ball, right? So I'm just kind of moving across this timeline for you. We get into spring ball. What would you say that's like compared to what you did in high school?
Spring ball, I would say compared to high school, a lot more physical off rip. You're not just bigger, stronger than everybody. You gotta go out there, you gotta play hard every rep. And it's like, I say in the beginning, it's more like getting used to the physicality, getting used to the strain on your body, and just going hard because the harder you go, the more stamina you get, the more easier it gets.
Mm-hmm.
So and then learning a new technique, you got to be very coachable, and you got to put your pride to the side because most guys, they don't like too much criticism. And it's like you got to be able to take it because it's
Yeah.
coming from a good place. They're trying to help you get better. And then film study. You gotta you gotta know what you're doing, and then make sure you know that playbook because you
Mhm.
get in that meeting rooms. Coach get to asking you questions. You don't want to be that guy.
You get exposed real quick, won't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I'll just say it's just also like learning the plays and playing. The more reps you get, the faster you get because you have a slight hesitation phase because you're learning.
Mhm.
And once you like learn everything, keep repping it out when it gets to that point where it becomes second nature, you play a lot faster.
Right. Of course. No doubt. All the great things right there, man. I appreciate you sharing that. I think that's a great point. One of the things you mentioned was film. And you can speak to it as well, but it was my experience and doing what I do today, talking to so many athletes, it's the same. Is when you get to college, people don't realize how much time you spend in the film room, right?
Yeah,
Almost, I would say, more in the weight room than more than even on the field. You're watching film way more than anything else and really understanding. How did you feel getting into college, understanding what you're looking at? Because sometimes, as young football players coming up and loving the game, we watch football, watching where the ball's at, right? We're trying
yeah,
to follow the pace of the game. When you get into college, it was my experience that it changes how you watch football. And it has for me today still,
yeah,
right? When I watch a game, I missed out on watching where the ball's at. I'm focusing on what's happening as an offensive lineman. Maybe you could
yeah.
speak a little bit about that experience.
I'll say yeah, it definitely changed from trying to like watch the big plays and all of
Yeah.
that. Or you really like focusing on the box and you're watching the formations, the movements before the snap. You're watching like D lineman tendencies. You're watching yourself. You're watching your technique, your first step, second step, how you strike with your hands, like just breaking it down to the little details, because it always comes down to the little details, and then just being able to like watch it in ID, like the box, the fronts, where you're going, what the linebacker's doing, safety rotation, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like you really you see the game different, even like when you're watching like NFL tape or you started like, okay, like I see what's going on, like when the center makes his calls or like they have a block and let's say the D line makes a play, you're looking at, oh, that O lineman did this wrong instead of wow, that was a great move by the D lineman.
Yeah.
She really breaks it down for you.
Yeah, man, no doubt. I mean, it really does get that granular. And that's the difference of you starting or watching the guy starting on the field, right? To your point, you're
Yes.
in that film room, you can get exposed real quick. And there's
Yeah.
that guy right behind you that would be willing to take your spot in a second. I mean, it's just competitive, right? That's just how it
Sure.
works. That's
Yeah.
good. Well, so we're at Wake Forest, we're playing, we're in school, and you start to form these relationships, right? Especially probably with your own position group, maybe some other people outside of your position group. Is there
Hmm.
anybody that stands out, maybe even from like a senior level or a mentor level that kind of like, hey, let me take you under my arm, let me tell you how to move through this place, how to, navigate the complexities? Was there anybody that really stands out that's like helped you through this process?
I would say my freshman year, we had a guard, right guard. His name was Nick Sharp, and he really took an interest into me. And the other guard, Matt Goldman, he was also the other starting guard. And Matt kind of like broke down the techniques to me, and then Nick, he just showed me how to like prepare, watch film, and then like he would encourage me every day in practice. Like if you lose, it's not what they did, it's what you did. You did something wrong for you to lose. And then he would break that down to me, and then he'd help me focus on the details. Like he would say all the time, like you're super strong. Once you get that technique down, it's gonna take you to the next level. You can't always rely on your strength. And he would just make sure to tell me that just because I had a good block, he would also like, okay, you moved them off the ball, but you could have done this better.
Mm.
And I feel like that really helped me right there.
No doubt. Keeping it real, right? Not blowing
Yeah,
smoke, helping you
yeah,
understand that there's better ways of doing things. Let's talk about it. Like Hiram, you were a very heavy run offense, if I remember right. You guys
yes,
didn't pass the ball much at Hiram. If you did, it was minimal as far as like the split between run and pass. You get into
yeah,
Wake Forest. let's just use the first game stats. You guys threw the ball 40 times. You ran the ball 38 times. It doesn't get much more balanced than that, right?
Yeah.
So moving into University of, sorry, Wake Forest, and now you're taking on more of a heavier load of pass. Where was your technique, or how'd you feel you kind of competed from a technical standpoint in the passing game, coming from a high school that was much more run heavy?
I'll say coming into college, that was my biggest weakness coming out of spring, and it was my pass pro technique because I didn't, like you said, we didn't pass a lot. I was very raw when it came to that. It was more like a drop back latch on, and then try to like just squeeze the pads and muscle them down.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I really had to learn, and I really struggled like with the twist game because how I was blocking basically I was not it wasn't group pass protection. I was more like trying to do it on my own and not playing long, not playing with separation. So I couldn't pass twist off, and I really in the spring I really struggled with that. And then going into the summer when I came home, I I trained with y'all and I told y'all like what I was struggling with, and it was just I basically had to learn all over again. All right, pass set, like don't lunge, make sure to play back. My sets, like everything was like completely new to me. I didn't really focus on it in high school because you're big and strong than everybody. Um, so it's like okay, cool. I learned how to kick set. You know, not overset everything. How to really sit back and time up my strikes and play long and snap the twist off and be able to redirect all of my frame. And I feel like that was really the biggest thing right there, just focusing on that. And that was what the major thing I did do to prepare to play college football. And I feel like I took a huge step from last year, my freshman year, to this year to get me ready to play in that game.
Yeah. No doubt. The one thing that impressed me, amongst other things, was that how you approached it, Clinton. It was like you were a pro already. I mean, you were asking great questions while you were here. You were always looking for another day to train. You're always looking for extra time. You weren't happy when we told you you were doing it good. You wanted to hear what was wrong with it. I mean, that just doesn't show up. I mean, maybe somewhere in your life, where did you develop that kind of mindset of, hey, I need to focus in so granular that I'm not okay with good. I want great.
Yeah. I would say when I was younger, around like that sophomore junior year, I feel like I got real contempt because like you know I'm hearing I'm this, I'm that, I'm good, and then I wasn't like very coachable, and I realized like when I got to playing, my teammate he was taking leaps, he was taking steps, and he was getting better each day, and I was like, all right, like okay, just because I'm dominating this block, don't mean I can't get better, and I felt like back then all I wanted to hear was the good, like, oh, you're doing this good, you're doing that good, and that's not real, like, cause like when I got to college, all I did was hear it was the good when I was younger, and I'm here, and the good I'm hearing, like the stuff like my O line coach would tell me, like, all right, Clinton, just you won the block, but you could have done this,
Yeah.
and when you go to the next level, it's gonna bite you in the butt, and I wasn't trying to hear that when I was younger. I'm like, all right, I got my block, so why does it matter? Like,
Right.
and then, like I said, I came to college and it was like an awakening. Like, okay, imagine if you had listened to him back then and done all those little things and worked at it. You would have came out here and you would have been able to make a bigger impact your freshman year. So then that really like humbled me. And I was like, all right, cool. Let me back to the basics. You're at the bottom of the bottom, learn. And
Uh,
then I just approached that. I just took that mindset and just went with that.
I love it. I love it. I'll tell you that type of environment can make or break you. Some people will get stronger in that environment, and some people will end up exiting that environment because they just can't live in that world. It's very difficult to do.
Yeah.
So I'm proud that you take that, those steps. You look at yourself in the mirror, and you're constantly looking for ways to get better. And your career, man, you have such a long runway in this game. I'm so excited for you. Let's get back to football, right? So, when we're talking football and we're talking about competing, we're going into spring ball this year, and we have a coaching change over there at Wake Forest. And unlike high school, where it does happen, but not often, college, you're going to see coaches come and go a little more often, unfortunately. How did that
Mhm.
impact you? How did that make you feel initially? And how do we feel right now? Are we in our head? Or are we feeling pretty good about the team that we're on right now?
Yeah, I'm feeling great about the team. I feel like I made the right choice to stay.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like at first when I heard the news, it came as a surprise because nobody knew like that was gonna happen.
Yeah,
And one day we all find out at the same time through social media, and I'm like, oh, well, we just lost our coach, like. And then I see a whole bunch of guys in the portal,
yeah,
and then I asked them like, why y'all in the portal? And it's like, it's college football. You don't understand yet, but we getting a new coach. It's this and that. He might bring in his guys, this and that. So it's like they're getting the portal just in case.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. Like I guess I'll hit the portal too, and just to see like what's out there, and just to be in the best opportunity to play. And the new coach came in. I talked to him. He had a great plan. He was going to transform the team. I liked what he said about bringing a new energy into town, this and that. And I was like, okay, I like that. But I was still wasn't sure. Then I talked to you. I talked to my parents. I talked to a couple people, and it's like, okay, my biggest thing was getting on the field and having a chance to compete. And it's like, all right, this is a great opportunity to compete. It's like going to a new school, a new staff. It's already a new coach there. So it's like I'm going to a brand new school, a new scheme. So it's like, all right, I might as well stay and fight and compete for that job. And then it's also like, okay, I go to a new school, I gotta move this, transfer credits, academics, all of that spill.
That's right.
So technically it's like I'm at a new school without having to move, pack up and move.
Right.
And I'm here and I'm ready to compete. So it's like, okay, I made my decision to stay, and I was like, I just got to put my head down and work and show them. And my coaches, my last coaching staff, have told him great things about me and all of that. So he was excited to see what I can do, and I knew I had to go out there and show him and just prove my old staff right. And that's what I did.
There's no doubt, man. And you earned it, man. I was so proud of you when we found out that you earned that starting position going into fall camp. And, um, you know, new coaching staffs, it's tough, right? You don't get to select them. You don't know who they are. You don't know what it's going to be like when they come in. Super proud that you did the right thing by sitting down and talking with them and getting to know them. And, that's a tough decision, especially when you have friends that are leaving, right? Your old coaching staff that did all the recruiting and the relationships that you built. That's not easy to do. So, to take that leap of faith, if you will, and stay where you're at, I think it's worked out in the best way possible for you. And I think that will only continue to pay you back even that much more. So congrats on that for sure. So when the new coaching staff comes in, they're obviously going to bring in their own playbook, right? And in the
Mm.
world of offensive line play, counter is counter, power is power, half slide is half slide. But what was some of the biggest differences that you noticed from playbook to playbook?
Um, like I feel like the slow mesh was a very unique offense. Like the guards, everybody in a 2 point stance. It's more like take on the initial charge and then move them. And I feel like this that offense was a little hard for me at first, just adapting to it. Because at first I've never played in a 2 point stance, so it was just getting used to that. And in this playbook, it was more hat speed. Like our O-line coach is saying this hat speed, hat speed, hat speed, fire off the ball, hit them hard. It's just old fashioned good football. So I'm like, wow, like I feel like that fit me a lot, my playing style, how I play. Because I'm really aggressive in the run game. I like to fire off, hit them first. And it's like that's all this offense is. And we didn't run no counters at all last year. Like we didn't run any power or counters, so it was like, okay, we're pulling now. I get to use my athleticism. It's like this offense just fit me better. So it all turned out great. It turned out right.
It sure did, man. When new coaching staffs come in, as I mentioned, typically, scheme is similar from place to place. Especially even in the NFL, college as well, with some little changes. But it's terminology, right? I mean, if we called it a B block on the backside of inside zone, it might have been called something else with a new offensive, coordinator coming in. So terminology was always the challenge for me, just making the change on what they wanted us to say. But if you had a close, tight knit group, you call it whatever you want, as long as everybody knew what they were talking about, right? As long as we were all on the same page when you said it.
Yeah. And I feel like with us, like we had so many new guys at the portal, so we didn't have that close group. We had to build that chemistry in the summertime and just get everybody real close.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a little challenging at first, but we definitely got better as the more time we spent with each other.
Of course. Well, let's fast forward. We're in the fall, right? We're starting our first game against Kennesaw State, right? Here locally here in Georgia that you guys are playing. You actually have some friends that played on Kennesaw State that you're competing against, right? At that point. And tell us about the game. Tell us about the first experience starting and playing in the ACC in college football.
Well, like leading up to that game, it was like, okay, I worked for this for like 2 years now. Like it's time. It was surreal. I was just soaking it all in, like from even going to the hotel, waking up early, preparing for the game. Like I haven't done that part before, so it was just like I went from scout team my freshman year to starting. So it was like, okay, I'm traveling with the team. I'm just trying to look like, trying to look like I belong, like not trying to look like I'm lost or nothing. So and then everybody's talking to me like, "You got this. Don't be nervous. This and that." I'm over here. I'm not nervous, man. I'm prepared for this already. And then it was just I get on the field and it's like, okay, it's time. The nerves were kicking in a little bit, a little bit leading up to that first snap. But then we did a couple like drills to warm up, like just one-on-one little angle-based drills, just to pop the pads, get us going. And I was like, all right, I'm cool, I'm ready, I'm not nervous at all. I just hit the field, first play, fire off the ball real hard. I'm like, okay, I get a pay kick on the first play. So I'm like, all right, let's go, let's go. Like I'm ready to go. I'm excited, and I feel like in game was way easier than practice. Like I was just like, oh my God, this is so much easier to practice. And it was just a good moment. It was everything you dream of. It was like, yeah, college football.
Yes,
Let's go.
sir. See, this is where I get frustrated, right? I'm an old man now. My first year ever playing college football, my first play, I actually almost black out. I was so nervous, right? I think I ended up diving at the defender's feet. And then film study coach is like, what are you doing, Richardson? Right? But everybody I talk to that has their first experience, I pancake a guy on the first play. I get a fumble recovery and run it back for 6. No, me, I black out. I fall on the line. But no, that's awesome. You balled out. I think we looked at PFF scores, your numbers in that first game. For pass protection, you were well over 85%. Run game, you were well over 77%. I mean, you balled out in that first game. And again, 78 snaps. It's not like you guys were on the field just a little amount of time. You were out there a whole bunch. And towards the end of the game, something happened, right? So maybe you can kind of share what happened in that situation towards the end of the game.
We caught a play. I'm pulling. I pull. Um, my teammate, he accidentally steps on my foot as I plant to pull, and then I feel a very like sharp pain in my foot, but I'm already in motion, so I catch myself and I end up hitting the pull, and then I'm like, I could tell something was wrong. And I'm trying to like walk it off because I'm like in my head and like, okay, he stepped on my foot. Like there's no way. Like I'm about to sit on the sideline because somebody stepped on my foot. So I end up playing like 10 more snaps after that. And then we call counter again. And I'm like, oh my God, my foot is screaming. But I'm like, I got to still pull. So I pull, I kick him out. And I could tell like, okay, like this is not like the adrenaline's not kicking in, it's not wearing off. Like I can't walk this off. I get to the sideline after that drive, and I tell the trainers like, could you tape it? Like, can you do something? And they were like, um, it's towards the end of the game. You have to go in the tent, and we were about to go back out. So it was like, are you going in or are you sitting out? And so I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. It was like, I told my teammate, because I thought it was going to be a 2 minute situation. I was like, all right, can you like work a couple pass rush moves real quick? Let me get some sets to make sure I'm good so I don't go out there and be a liability for the team. So I was like, all right, cool. He bull rushed me. I sat on it. I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. I go back out there, and luckily we take a knee.
Yeah.
So we knee out the clock, and I go in for X-ray, and then I'm like, "This is nothing serious. Probably just bruised or something." The doctor comes out. He tells me that I broke my foot, and it was just like, "Damn, the first game. This is like it was. It's like everything just came crashing down."
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, "Damn, like my season's over, this and that." And then my teammate came in, told me to keep my head up.
Mm-hmm.
And then my coaches came in, they were telling me to stay positive, this and that. And then my little sister, my dad actually came in there. And you know me, I'm just sitting there, just tearing up a little bit, just
Sure.
mad, upset. And it was just like my mom, she started praying, and then she was like, "You gotta stay positive.
Yep.
You don't know what like the recovery time is gonna be yet." And yeah, it was just, I was just like in my head, it's like you work so hard for this moment, and then you get hurt after your first game. Like, dang. But I realized God has a plan for everything, and um, stay positive and stick with God's plan.
There's no doubt, man. I mean, that's it's emotional to hear because, I know personally being close to your journey, how much work you've put in. And
Mm.
the one thing I do know from this side of where I sit is that you still have a lot of football ahead of you, right? And having that type of, I don't want to call it a setback because it's not, it's just a little delay in your journey.
Mm.
It's going to propel you that much farther ahead, that much quicker, right? I mean, how are we feeling right now? You feeling like it's coming along, your recovery, your physical therapy, whatever you got to do to get that right? You feel like that process is moving quickly for you?
Um, yeah, pretty quickly. Like they told me after they got the surgery done and the X-ray done that I could come back towards the end of the season, and I was like so excited because I was like, damn, I went from my season's
Yes.
over to I could come back, and I'll have
Wow.
probably like 4 games left when I come back too. So that's still a lot of football,
Wow.
and I feel like on Wednesday I get my the little soft cast off and get in the boot, and I can start sweating and getting back into football
Let's
a
go.
little bit, just a little bit of workouts, and I'm excited for that too. Just finally, just not sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah.
I actually get to do something.
No doubt. Those Demon Deacon fans are going to be excited to hear that you're going to be back before the end of the season. So that's going to be a great story to be able to share later on, man. So I'm excited for you. Who's the next game you guys have on your schedule? Who's coming up?
We got a bye week this week, but that the week
Yep.
after we play Georgia Tech, and
We're in conference, huh?
I, yeah, I played
Yeah.
Georgia Tech. I got a teammate on Georgia Tech, so I'm excited for that game. We gonna beat them.
There you go. There it is. There's
Beat them.
calling it out right now. That's a
Yeah,
W for Wake Forest. I love it. Listen, man, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I really appreciate you joining us. It means the world to me. You know what I think about you. You're a great kid. You're a great football player. You got a lot of football ahead of you, man. We're excited to see, where your future goes. All right, my friend. So again, thanks for joining us, my friend, and we'll talk real soon. Okay. If you need anything, make sure you reach out to us. Okay.
sir.
All right. Thank you.